Hello! What's going on, everybody? As you all know, the Africa Cup of Nations have just ended. Egypt versus Senegal was the final. I predicted that Egypt would win on penalties, and boy was I wrong. Scoreline was still 0-0, but Senegal took the dub. Even when Egypt played their absolute heart out, they happened to choke there when they were the favorites for many people, as we saw them win on penalties twice. Obviously, Senegal are the favorites on paper with the squad they have, but Egypt's run was so fantastic that many people, including myself, believe that they can make it all the way to penalties and win. We also saw goalkeeper Abu Gabal have the absolute match of his life. You had to feel for this guy, as he did all he could to keep Egypt in the race. Saving Mane's penalty early on, made many ridiculous saves all the way to extra time, and even when it got to penalties, he happened to save one while going the right direction nearly every time. Gabanski deserves all the praise, and I truly hope he gets noticed by a top club in Europe soon. He deserves so much credit, and I definitely feel for him out of most of the players on the Egypt national team. Definitely the man of the match in the final, no question. Obviously, bravo to Senegal, but the crazy thing is we're obviously going to be seeing this matchup happen again in March, as they got to come up against each other in World Cup qualifiers. We're also going to be seeing Cameroon versus Algeria, Ghana versus Nigeria, DR Congo versus Morocco, and Mali versus Tunisia. I wanted to film this video once the Africa Cup of Nations did finish, because I wanted to see how all these teams performed, because I felt like it could have given me a little bit of an idea of how they could potentially perform in March. As always, let me know your predictions in the comments below. Let's just get straight into it, starting off with the matchup we literally just saw happen. Egypt versus Senegal. Obviously, we just saw it's a very neck-and-neck battle between the two teams. Senegal does look better on paper, and overall throughout the match, they did look like the more threatening team. Abu Gabal really came in clutch throughout the match in order to take them all the way to penalties. Would have been terrific if they could have won the whole thing there, but hey, it is what it is. But you know what? The fact that this matchup has to be played over two legs makes me a little bit worried about Egypt. Obviously, they're a side that can fight to the end. We saw it throughout the entire AFCON. Having every single match they had to play that was in the knockouts go into extra time. The work rate and stamina in this team is wild, and you gotta feel a bit bad for them. They're probably absolutely dead by the final. Senegal, however, as we've seen, they have a lot of quality. We won't really know injury status and all that by the time the Africa World Cup Qualifiers comes around. I don't think it's going to be easy for Senegal, but I definitely think they can win. I'm going to say in the first leg it finishes 0-0, and the second one they win 1-0. I think it's going to be tight, as we've already seen, and some of you might be probably saying, oh, you're just going for them because they just won AFCON. Honestly, my prediction was that Egypt would win the final, but Senegal would seek their revenge in the World Cup Qualifiers. But right now, I think Senegal still has potential to be the more dominant side throughout this matchup. We've already seen it in the AFCON, and I think they'll be potentially even stronger in the World Cup qualifiers. So yeah, I'm saying Mane makes it to the World Cup while Salah has to sit out. And it would be unfortunate, as obviously these guys have been teammates for years now. It would be very sad to see Mane break this guy's heart twice. But good luck to both of these teams. Egypt, feel free to prove me wrong. And if I didn't already say it, massive congratulations to Senegal for winning the Africa Cup of Nations. Definitely proving to be one of the strongest teams in Africa right now. Next up, Cameroon versus Algeria. Another very, very tough one to predict. We saw Cameroon make it to third in the Africa Cup of Nations, the tournament they hosted. And we saw Algeria, one of the potential favorites of the tournament, absolutely crash. They finished fourth in the Africa Cup of Nations, and the last time around they won the entire tournament. And it was such a shock, as they were unbeaten in over 30 matches. Can Algeria refine their form and potentially make it to the World Cup? It's going to be very tricky though, as Cameroon has obviously been proving their worth lately. Vincent Aboubakar has been the top goal scorer in the Africa Cup of Nations. Toko Ekambi was very brilliant throughout the tournament as well. Cameroon truly have tons of fight in them. It's really based on if I think Algeria will regain their form by the time this matchup happens. Because they have so many quality players, they genuinely just didn't look as motivated as before during the Africa Cup of Nations. I feel like they could turn things around. It won't be easy for them whatsoever. I'm going to say in the first leg it draws 1-1, and in the second they win 2-1. Algeria truly just did have a little bit of a slip. I don't want to completely count out their Africa Cup of Nations run from this, but I don't want to highly praise them either. So I think they'll barely make it, but good luck to both of the teams. Next up, Ghana versus Nigeria. Ghana, just like Algeria, were absolutely dreadful in the Africa Cup of Nations, while Nigeria did look very impressive in the group stage, but then slipped to Tunisia in the round of 16s. And like I said, Ghana just seems to be cursed ever since the 2010 World Cup. It's almost like we gotta just blame Suarez for all their failures. Nigeria, in that match they lost to against Tunisia, Tunisia defended very well. Nigeria was still looking like the more dominant side. And I think they're the favorites for this matchup, in all honesty. Sorry, Ghana. I think they will cruise through this. I'm gonna say in the first matchup it finishes 2-1, and the second one 2-0. I know I said Algeria can bounce back, but we just haven't really been seeing an impressive Ghana side for some time now. So feel free to prove me wrong, but I think this is Nigeria's chance. Next up, DR Congo versus Morocco. Most people are probably banking on Morocco on this one, as DR Congo didn't even qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations. But you still got to give them some credit. They're here in the final round of the Africa World Cup Qualifiers, obviously. Morocco, we did see this side crash to Egypt in the quarterfinals, but it still went to extra time. Very good fight from both of the sides. One thing that obviously surprised me about Morocco, I mean, it's been news for some time now, but the fact that we haven't been seeing Ziyech show up for the national team, I think he's one of their best players. Obviously, he's doing a pretty decent job in the Premier League. He's obviously had a falling out with Halil Hodzic, but they're still playing decently without him. We saw it in the Africa Cup of Nations. We also saw Hakimi with a brilliant display throughout many matches, scoring lots of nice free kick goals. The attack on Morocco is still looking promising, and I'm pretty confident that they'll be able to do it in this matchup. I can't see DR Congo coming out on top against this strong Moroccan side. They just lost their groove in the Africa Cup of Nations. They still were one of the stronger sides in the tournament, and we haven't been seeing necessarily the best out of DR Congo. So I'm going to say in the first leg, Morocco grabs a 2-0 win, and in the second one, 3-1. Now the final matchup, we're looking at Mali versus Tunisia. Both of these teams had to play in the same group in the Africa Cup of Nations, and we saw Tunisia nearly slip while Mali excelled, finishing first. But it just seems like Tunisia have some bad history performing in the group stage, as like I already said, they beat Nigeria in the Africa Cup of Nations 1-0 in the round of 16s. And then we saw Mali crash in the round of 16s to Equatorial Guinea. If we're judging it based on their Africa Cup of Nations performances, it's obviously a bit tricky, as Mali looked promising in the group stage, but Tunisia started to gain momentum in the knockouts. But obviously, Tunisia did have that coronavirus outbreak, which did heavily impact their starting 11. So it is very hard to judge this side. I feel like a lot of people are probably banking on them to do well and potentially qualify for Qatar this year. But you know what? I'm going to go for a tiny upset. I'm going to say Mali make it to Qatar instead, but I'm going to say it's a very, very close one. When they beat Tunisia in the Africa Cup of Nations, it finished 1-0 with a penalty being the only goal. This is a bit of a shocking result, but I'm going to say it finishes 0-0 both legs, and then Mali went on penalties at the end. I could see Tunisia potentially getting some very nice plays in there, but just falling short, getting very unlucky, and Mali finally qualifying for their first World Cup. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are my predictions for the Africa World Cup qualifiers. Like I said, I just wanted to wait for the Africa Cup of Nations to finish because I was very curious to see how all these teams would perform. Again, massive congratulations to Senegal for winning the entire thing. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all for making it to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. Boa noite.